listening, and I have to say I'm going to be in context because I think it's important to carry on the narrative. So I like to start by saying, repeating Revelation 2 verses 9. I know your works, tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And if I can apply that to hair, hair has suffered. That's afro hair has suffered. Afro hair has been, there's a new term now called afrophobia. It's been it's trending. But afro hair is rich. The afro hair industry is estimated to be worth £2.8 billion a year. It makes a lot of sense for the people who are making money from afro hair. The sad reality is the ingredients and the products that are used to care for our hair, many of which are carcinogenic. So, in a sense, having listened to the three other speakers, I should keep this in context because I think many of our women and men are also suffering diseases and hair issues, such as alopecia, which is hair loss, dry hair, for instance, based on the kind of nefarious products that are there that's designed for our hair. So my topic tonight is about collapsing the trust to reclaim your tress. And of course, your tress is your hair. And I'm going to also talk about the 9 principles of afro hair, which simply means that afro hair can be morphed into 9 different genres, 9 different styles, so to speak. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I could talk about many other things, but so basically, there was a time when our mothers and our aunts and our grandmothers did our hair for obvious reasons, to go to church, to go to party, family functions, events, etc., etc. And for whatever reason, we seem to have left the capable hands of our matriarchs. And we looked into other, I don't know, other communities. You know who they are. They're on the high streets, making billions and billions and billions of pounds from our hair, pretending to provide solutions for our queens with a K, woes and quandaries. And what has been happening over time, black women have found that their hair is just getting worse. It hasn't been growing. Imagine they've spent £2.5 billion a year. And to no avail, the hair hasn't grown. And we now know what the reasons are. For many years, they've been afro-flaxenizing their hair. You can't afro-flaxenize your hair. That is to say, straighten your hair and expect it to thrive. And we know the reason why we had to do that. We had to conform, I think, because of pressure brought to bear on the community, on our women. We had to conform, if you like, in the workplace. So we would straighten our hair. We would do things to our hair that, in the long run, create disrepair. It sort of almost, you know, damage your hair beyond repair. You've seen women with scalp that's been burnt to a cinder. The hair's been burnt and they're struggling to grow the hair. And why not? Because, of course, your hair is your beauty. The Bible says it's your crown and your glory. It's your tress. So your tress, in my opinion, is your treasure. So you're supposed to look after it. It's the first thing you see when you see a person coming towards you. You see a beautiful woman, you see her hair. And we should celebrate our descendants from the 60s, because what they did was they were defiant in terms of celebrating their blackness, and so they had the hair as a symbol. So just to keep things very, very simple, what is collapsing the trust to reclaim your trust? So it simply means that black women and men should go back to nature, or what nature had provided in the first place, sustainable ingredients to ensure that their hair and the well-being of the hair would, you know, the hair would be repaired, and therefore thus celebrate our self-esteem, our cultural esteem, and our black excellence. It's very important. Black women often talk about why is it the hair doesn't grow? Well, of course it wouldn't grow because, first of all, the water is harsh, the chemicals you're using is harsh, and another thing that's very important, our ancestors have said we're supposed to use ingredients that are indigenous to us. In other words, if you're from Ghana, for instance, you should use shea butter. If you're from Jamaica, use castor oil, black castor oil. If you're from Grenada, use coconut oil. If you're from Nigeria, use palm oil. Look, the solutions are all there, and they are sustainable. They are antibacterial, they are antifungal, and invariably they're anti-carcinogenic. So since we strayed and we were looking at other people's shops, you know who those people are, they're on our high streets, making a fortune, our hair's not grown. So what's been interesting, there's always an antidote, and I think the antidote lies in us. We are defiant. And so what we are lucky to have is that every generation there's a renaissance. There's been multiple renaissances over the years. Let me just, for instance, stray a little bit and talk about the Tiggan law, 1786 in America, in Louisiana, when black women hair looked so gorgeous, a law was passed to forbade them to wear their hair in public. Can you imagine that? So Afro hair has gone through numerous challenges over the centuries, even though it's the first hair that arrived on the planet and has been around the longest and is the most beautiful. It is, in my opinion, the mother of all hairs. But yet, in 1786, in Louisiana, in America, unfortunately, Caucasian women were threatened by freed slaves. Although I hate to use the word slaves, I prefer to use the word POW, prisoners of war. So they were looking so gorgeous with their gorgeous hair that the law was passed. The law is called Tiggan law, T-I-G-N-O-N, Tignan law. And that law forbade black women from wearing their hair in public. So when you see our women wearing scarves, it might be, if you like, a consequence of that law. So, but what's interesting, even though they were barred from wearing their hair in public, they found a way to embellish their hair. And so the scarves look gorgeous. They look beautiful. And I love the word embellish. I don't like to talk about, I don't like to pathologize my race. I don't like to talk about self-injury. I do like to talk about celebration. Everything about this is beautiful. Hence the reason why I use the term, the verse from Revelation. I know your tribulation. I know your struggles. I know your poverty, but you were rich. So therefore, our hair, in spite of the challenges that we've saved, it's rich. So let's go back now. Let's talk about collapsing the trust. We have to forget about these high street shops that are just sprung up over time, and they are making a fortune. And invariably, they're very rude to our women, our queens. So what our queens need to do is go back. Go back, as Sankofa says. Go back to get it. And what are you trying to get? You're going back to find sustainable ingredients to maintain and to care for your hair. And it's simple things. This is a cocoa from Grenada. It's in Jamaica, it's in Ghana, it's in Nigeria, it's in every part of the world. This cocoa has hair growing properties in it. So you break the cocoa if it's green. If you guys are familiar with the cocoa, many of you who are perhaps born in the UK may have seen a cocoa. This one's a bit dry. But if it's green, you break this cocoa, and in this cocoa, there's a wonderful filmy substance. And it's indeed a conditioner. There's another wonderful thing in Jamaica. I think it's called single Bible. The Rastas use it for many, many years. They pick this plant, they break the plant, and the plant lathers. Natural shampoo. I've got an amazing fruit from Zimbabwe. This is called baobab. This fruit is perfect for conditioning your hair and invariably consuming. So when you break the fruit, it looks a bit like that. And you could make porridge, you could make hair growing conditioners, all sorts of things. The point I'm trying to make is that in your culture, in your community, wherever you are, there are numerous hair growing ingredients that goes towards healing your hair, because we are living in a very difficult time. There are lots of pathogens in the air. We live in COVID country. And since the earlier speakers talked about these numerous diseases, hair, if you're using the wrong ingredients, can also impact the growth and health of your hair on both men and women. And you will find over time that your hair will be challenged. There's an interesting condition called CCCA, or centrifugal alopecia, CCCA, and that is simply because it is triggered by inflammation. And so, since the thing we eat equally can cause harm to our hair. And why? Because the hair grows at a cellular level. Hair doesn't grow from the outside, it grows from the inside. So it's imperative that our queens and our kings, our emperors, use sustainable products to look after the hair. If you are going to use products, be mindful of what's in the products. You have to read the labels. There are 3 most damaging ingredients that can cause havoc to the queens. They're called parabens, and invariably they're sulfates, and others are like lanolin. These are damaging, so you have to be mindful of what goes into your hair. You may pay a bob or 2 more, but it's worthwhile, because in the long run, if your hair is your glory, it is your crown, it is your tress, it is your treasure, you should look after it and should not really worry about the cost of the item, though it should be affordable. So my quest is to ensure that we provide sustainable products for our customers. So that said, I have developed a product line for my customer and for the black community at large. It's called Derek Clement Hair Care System. And it's a system because I don't think just a regular shampoo on its own or a conditioner on its own is enough to sustain and to care for your hair. Because your hair needs 3 fundamental things for its well-being. It needs moisture, it needs hydration, and it needs nutrients. And all those things I just mentioned before, they have in them nourishing ingredients, hydrating ingredients, and moisturizing ingredients. Since you can't go to the Caribbean or Africa to get those, you'll have to seek reliable and sustainable products. There's lots of black brands out there doing marvelous things in the community. There are loads of local brands. Recently, I think since COVID, there's been a lot of black women and men who are manufacturing homemade, reliable products. So it means you may have to work a bit harder to find out who is in your community making these products. So I manufacture as well. Having been doing hairdressing for over 40 years, it's imperative that I ensure that my clients and the community could access a worthwhile products. So the system that I've created is not just about a shampoo and the conditioner and Bob's your uncle. Bear in mind, the water in England, in this country, is very harsh. It might be softer in the north, up north, or in the Midlands, but London, the water is hard since it's been recycled 8 to 9 times. So that water is just full of garbage in it, right? So even that could have an impact on your hair. So the system that I've created it means that you shampoo your hair once. I'm going to show you what my shampoo looks like. It's a shampoo. And shampooing can be damaging. And the reason why I say shampoo can be damaging, when you buy a shampoo, the thing you look forward to most is the lather and the suds. And I promise you, because you like that lather and that suds, it is what attracts you to the shampoo in the first place. For the shampoo to lather and to create that suds and that feel-good factor, it must have some very dodgy ingredients in them. So don't try to shampoo your hair too many times. Too much shampooing robs the hair of natural moisture and natural nutrients and nourishment. Okay, it inhibits hair growth as well. And the reason why I say that, since your hair grows at a cellular level, the hair has its own ecosystem. It is quite capable of nourishing itself by itself without our intervention. As you all to
okay? Sometimes we see someone trying to do a business and do right by the community, and our first thought is, get rich out of me. That's the wrong mentality. Because guess what? Those high street brands are milking billions and have been doing for so long. And here's the thing. If I need a quid or any form of help, we just met Derek Clement. I am 1,000% more confident of getting that help from Derek than I am from those other people that own those high street brands. They're selling products not for us, to us, but they don't like us. Okay? When you go into the shop, you will see every aisle you move to, you've got a shadow or a tail like a monkey. They're on you because they don't trust us. But they take your money. Okay? Now I say we need to take our money out of those establishments, yeah? And give it to a brother like Derek Clements, who's going to develop more products for us. I'm so proud and touched that you have your own hair care system. Okay? It's just, we all need to aspire to do things like that for ourselves and for our people. And not only is he selling, yeah, I said the S word, selling products, but they're beneficial to our health and well-being. And that's in line with the policy and principles of the 360. But also, you gave an education of where the history comes from. And I'm enlightened. I'm going to leave this session knowing more about our hair and our people and the relationship than I did before. I thank you for that. But I suspect for you, it's only the tip of the iceberg. We need to have you back on the platform. We need to get our hands on some products. Maybe we can do a promotion for the Queens. Some raffles, for example, so we can get the products into people's hands. Okay? Maybe we can do a live event where we can have taste sessions where there's a lot of things that we can do. But we've only just met, so it's early days yet. But thank you so much for your willingness and eagerness to impart that knowledge. Okay? And you are every bit a warrior king as the other speakers that we've had. Okay? So, as I said, being a warrior and courageous takes many forms. And in this day and age of society and country in particular, to start a business and be successful, it's not easy. Okay? It really is not easy. It's a war that we're in. And doing that without the support of our people, it becomes even more difficult. Do you honestly think do you think they're going to flock to this and support? What's going to happen if the carbon melanated people, not blacks, for black is just a colour, the carbon melanated people don't support people like Derek and products like these? Then what's going to happen? Do the mathematics, right? It's not rocket science. I wish you every success. And you've been doing this for a very, very long time. Okay? And, I wish you all the success. We are rooting for you and supporting you. We're going to have discourse and dialogue beyond. We're going to invite you onto the platform to do a full presentation.
Thank you.
And so we can learn more. And we do all we can to support you and your organization. And right now, I'm not worried about you becoming rich. I rather hope you do. It's simple. Because we want to get out of this crab in the barrel mentality. Oh, Derek Clements will get rich if you buy the products and he's going to excel. He's going to have lots of money and a big house and a big car, and we won't have that. But why don't we link arms and work together and ask the brother, can you help us with your vast knowledge and experience? Can you help us develop products and services for our community? That's a question I'll be asking Derek. Okay? How can we learn from you? What can you teach us? What do we need to do to help our people? It's a 360 question we're going to be asking all our people. What can we do to move it forward? So I asked the question, what can you do to advance product for us, made for us, by us? Okay? We need to have self-love. Love ourselves and love each other. expecting you to understand that it starts with self-love. If you don't love yourself, then you can't love another. And if you think you can, you're sadly mistaken. Meditate on it. You'll find that I'm right on this one. But also, show love to others. And you know what? Rather than trying to find someone doing something wrong in our community, as we're set up almost to do, it's all, look at this person, he's done wrong. And some of us do wrong, don't get me wrong. But that's very highlighted very quickly and then blown out of all proportion. Okay? I'm more concerned about when we do something right and something good. Who's talking about that? Okay? If someone does something wrong or possibly evil, it'll be talked about for years or decades.